Alyssa Mercante just can't help herself. She reviewed the new Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and she had to make the review about herself. If there's one thing that you can't expect out of video game journalists is to actually write a video game review. No, they're too busy focusing on me, 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 me. They are literally the narcissist of the gaming industry. These guys are cosplaying as gaming journalists when they're really just political activists, and they want to try to make it about how they're oppressed, how they're constantly attacked, how they're victims, because the wokies, they can't stand to not be the center of attention. And somebody told it to me best when I lived in California for a little bit. I was like, why do they protest? And he goes, honestly, a lot of these people really don't care about what they're protesting or what they're mad about. They just feel that they have some clout and some attention if they were to make a, I guess, argument or debate or act like they're oppressed about something, that they feel that that is how they're contributing to life. And I'm starting to think when it comes to Alyssa Mercante, if she doesn't have something to try to make herself the victim, the focal point of whatever she's doing, nobody would honestly care. And this is one of the biggest releases coming out. Elden Ring DLC is something that a lot of people are looking forward to. So when you look up reviews, especially this one written by her, you want to see what's good and what's bad about the game or the DLC or the expansion and whatever it is that you're looking into. You don't care about their personal, I guess, obstacles and the things that they're going through in life. It's not about you, Alyssa Mercante, but for whatever reason, throughout the last several months, you've made it all about yourself. You've even made the Summer Game Fest couch for Giant Bomb about yourself with the "fight me physically, bitch." You just can't help yourself. To even sit here and call yourself a gaming journalist when you can't even write a review without putting it about yourself and making some kind of cringe social commentary about how you're held back. It's just a little too much. So Twitter is flaming her, but I want to go ahead and show the segment of her review for this Elden Ring DLC. So this is a excerpt from her quote-unquote review, and you can see she instantly starts to make the game about herself and how she's a victim. So look at this. She says, until Elden Ring, I avoided Souls-likes. Their punishment difficulty and rigid boundaries frustrated me immensely. I hit a wall in Dark Souls Remastered and gave up, barely touched Bloodborne, and avoided Sekiro like it was a poisoned swamp. In the real world, I have mostly avoided the ear of homophobes and misogynists in the games industry. What does this have to do with Elden Ring DLC? This is where she loses most people. I don't know what it is with these people, but get this. Get the rest of this statement. Writing an article that temporarily shakes them up before fading into relative obscurity once Reddit refreshes. So she's over here purposely admitting and laughing that every article, I can't even fucking... Just the mental gymnastics that Alyssa Mercante constantly does makes my mind feel like I've lost intelligence. But she's literally saying right here that she purposely writes articles to trigger homophobes and misogynists so that they could post on Reddit crying about her and that they will be irrelevant once Reddit refreshes. Keep in mind that these people live rent-free in your head, Alyssa Mercante, to the point where you're writing reviews for huge releases and you're over here talking about your insufferable behavior on the internet. This is why I don't understand when you guys try to say that people are unhinged and obsessed about you because they make videos talking about you when you're clearly the one that's obsessed. When we're all clearly living rent-free in your head. You're not innocent. And for whatever reason, these people think that they're making a positive change in the gaming industry when they're the ones that are miserable, when they're the ones that are constantly bitching about what needs to be changed and that DEI has to be forced into everything. And then they get violent. They throw the insults. They call you every single thing in the book but a son of God. She put this in the middle of her fucking review. What is this? This is a joke. If I was IGN or Kotaku or whatever website, I wouldn't hire these people. I'd be like, dude, this ain't your personal soapbox. And then she writes a brave statement here, like, oh my God, she's so brave. Now I'm willingly subjecting myself to arduous adventure, running headfirst into a proverbial wall just to shake it off, back up, and run into it again. Outside of the lands between in the shadow realm, I spent nearly 4 months as the subject of a near endless harassment campaign. It feels at times like logging on for a day. Okay. Oh, she just had to mention that the endless harassment campaign, even though she's the one that misrepresents CEOs. She's the one that calls people's wives. She's the one that evades personal boundaries. She's the one that was trying to write hit pieces on Osmond Gold and Melanie Mack by trying to get information about them. She's the one that passively aggressive, tweets towards people under protected tweets and tries to talk shit. She's the one that throws threats of violence, but she's on a near endless harassment campaign, guys. She's poor little old me. Oh my God, my pussy hurts. These people are saying negative things about me, and I'm getting criticism, and I should be immune to it. Even though my behavior is completely trash and terrible. Let me put it in the middle of my Elden Ring DLC, even though nobody honestly gives a flying fuck about your personal experiences. When the fuck did Kotaku become your personal blog, Alyssa Mercante? This is supposed to be a video game website. Aren't you supposed to be writing some game guides and game reviews and actually doing real gaming journalism instead of the political activism that you're calling gaming journalism? This is why people are starting to want to end Kotaku and wanting to move on from legacy journalism and gaming and stuff like this. Nobody takes any of y'all credible anymore. I don't know if you've noticed, but the tide is changing. Despite what you might be thinking and your efforts and the people that gas you up in your little discords and group chats, the tide is turning. People are starting to more and more every day not take game journalism serious, especially when you have bullshit like this in your Elden Ring reviews. It's starting to get a little old here. We get it. Life is hard. Grow a sack and move the fuck on. Now look at this. She goes, before I even make that connection between my real world and FromSoft's game world, I subconsciously attack Shadow the Earth Tree with dogged determination, as if besting a boss would bleed into my everyday and imbue me with a higher tier of self-confidence. Much like how it feels to receive near-endless hate comments from anonymous accounts or angry middle-aged men. So it's always about these are angry middle-aged men yelling at me, a poor defenseless woman, which is why she did that whole fight me physically bitch thing. She was hoping that angry middle-aged men would throw physical threats her way. And when Vera Dark threw the gauntlet at her, when Mara Jade threw the gauntlet at her, and other females, she tucked her tail between her legs and got the fuck out of town because she didn't want the smoke. She didn't want the squabble, as Atreus would say, with female gamers that would whoop her ass. And she's always trying to act tough behind a block. And you can see right here, she just couldn't help herself. She had to put all these comments in here. Oh, I'm brave. I'm getting self-confidence by playing this because it's how I feel with harassment and hate comments. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, whatever you say. You just, a cringe review. Now she's getting torn up from the floor up on Twitter. I found out about this whole instance from Vera Dark, speaking of her, who put this banger fucking tweet out that we're going to take a look at. And she put Alyssa Mercante reviewed Shadow of the Erd Tree. Simply writing a review? No. Let's put commentary in there that has nothing to do with the game and establishes she's always the victim. She claims she's the victim of a near-endless harassment campaign when she's on social media threatening to beat people up for not agreeing with her. Right. She's the one starting a lot of the shit. She's the one instigating. But that's how all these fucking queers act. All these people that are little SJW wokies, they pick and prod and gaslight and pitchfork. And then when it comes back at them, they can't take the fucking smoke. None of them. All of them that are constantly thinking that they're witty and posting on their social medias memes and all this crap. And then they resort to low-level intelligent insults and stuff. They cannot handle it. They cannot handle it, especially if you disagree with them. It's never, hey, I said stupid, controversial things people disagree with. Now I'm facing backlash. It's not. They can't ever accept when they say stupid shit. It's always people are being sexist and homophobic. Spot the fuck on. And you can look at these replies that everybody's continuing on about. Very Dark says, good to know she relied on multiplayer summons, or else she wouldn't have been able to finish the base game. I never had any help on my 3 playthroughs. Zzz. Just completely bearing her. You can see Dread Robber says this site's just her personal blog now. Funny, I just literally said that. Jared Shapiro says, I don't think I've ever read a game review hoping the reviewer would tell me about their personal life. And that's the thing. It's a game review. It's not about your personal life, Mercante. Nobody gives a shit. You're just virtue signaling. You're like grandstanding that you're some brave and confident, oppressed modern female that has toughed, society by playing Shadow of the Erd Tree. And just shut the fuck up. Okay, just shut up. You're absolutely cringe. Nobody wants to read this stuff in video game reviews. Okay, you just couldn't help yourself. Continuing on, Andy Meehan says, Kotaku writer trying to write a review about the video games without getting political, challenge impossible. Exactly. This happened not too long ago. I want to say with Starfield. You had a couple other games like Stellar Blade, Hogwarts Legacy from Wired had like a -1 or a 1 out of 10 last year. These people just can't help themselves trying to spread their narratives. And they claim that gaming is diverse naturally, that D&I doesn't need to be forced in. No, that's exactly why you guys have things like Sweet Baby Inc. and stuff, because you guys have to strong arm it in. You have to force people to agree with what you're trying to push in, or else we're bigots, we're homophobes, we're transphobes, we're whatever phobe you could think of, because we don't want it. The majority of people don't want that bullshit. We just want good games. We just want good stories, good characters. We want, entertainment that actually is entertaining, not bullcrap that is about checking off a box on a checklist of DEI nonsense. All right, diversity on paper, great, good. Let's have fun. But to really sit there and bitch about no femme-coded video games, I guess, characters in the games like Rebecca Valentine just did about Black Myth Wukong. Oh, there's no femme-coded characters in this segment, or females. Who gives a fuck? Do you really have to be that much of a narcissist to where you have to feel represented in your video games? Just have fun with it. Now, let's look at some more of these burials. John Della Rose says, everything about the woke is just about me, 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 me. It's narcissism under the guise of political activism. And that's exactly what it is. And this review from Alyssa Mercante is a perfect example of me, 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 me. Because she's like, oh, I couldn't help think about how I'm in an endless harassment campaign and that these angry middle-aged men are after me and, oh, my pussy hurts. And it's like, dude, all right, we get it. Okay? Like, you don't think anybody else has had a hard life? It's only you guys, the nose ring brigade, that have shit to be oppressed and complain about? Imagine living your life to where the only reason why you have any kind of identity is because of who you fuck and your skin color and your gender. Like, you can't just make things happen. I know lots of females that are Hispanic that make shit happen. They don't ever have to be like, oh, look at me, I'm a female that's oppressed in a world of angry middle-aged men, and I'm also a lesbian. Like, they just make shit happen. Okay, I wouldn't want to live my life being labeled as somebody oppressed just because of who I am. I'm Mexican, and I don't sit here like, oh, I'm held down by the white man because I'm Hispanic. No, I go and I get shit done, and I fucking want people to identify me as 8-Bit Eric or Eric Perez or whoever I am. Like, oh, that motherfucker is a good person because he actually is one. He gets shit done. He doesn't talk about it. He bees about it. Not, oh, every excuse in the book as to why I'm the victim, which is what Alyssa Mercante is all about with this review. Now, continuing on, we have AI Emerald Apple saying, that sounds more like I'm bad at playing video games, so I avoid them, and then put in words like homophobes and misogynists to distract from the fact that Alyssa's not even a real gamer. Exactly. It's just their personal political soapbox. That's all it really is. Now, this Alyssa Mercante parody is the greatest. This account is a banger right here. They said, things I took from the review. She's a victim. She sucks at Souls likes. Yeah, she admitted to it. She's really a victim. Has she mentioned harassment yet? But what was the DLC like? No clue. She really doesn't say anything about what the game was like. Just that, oh, she became self-confident and stuff by playing it. Now, here's another thing from them. They say, how to admit you're the least suitable person to review the new Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Just admit you suck at gaming. Oh, and of course, she can't help but tying it into the harassment she's dealing with. What's the bet on whether she had to use a trainer cheats to unlock the DLC? And, I mean, this account ain't wrong. It's... Why do these websites give certain journos access to the codes that they get? They have a whole staff of people that can review this game, and they pick probably the worst person to review and play this game, period. Actually have people that want to review the games, that want to talk about the game mechanics, that want to talk about the plot, that want to talk about certain elements of the game that they reviewed. That way the consumer can actually know what they're going to buy, instead of making it an opportunity to sit there and be like, woe is me, I'm harassed, angry middle-aged men are irrelevant, they get mad at me and they post their stuff, but as soon as it's done they don't matter because it's gone, and I'm riding in spite of them. Like, come on, Mercante, show some fucking pride in your work, show us some real journalism. You want to talk about how the gaming industry is miserable, that there's guys that are constantly angry, like Nick Calandra said, these people that are constantly wanting change in the game industry. You guys are the ones that want change in it. You guys were the ones miserable. You guys are the ones writing articles that have nothing but social justice nonsense posted in the middle of it that have nothing to do with what you're talking about. And you're getting trashed. Like, for anybody that thinks that she's seriously making a difference and is citing and cheering this on, you guys are fucking blind. Because look at this. She's just getting absolutely roasted. Absolutely roasted. How does people like this keep getting hired? Exactly. How do they get hired? How do they have jobs? One of the most open-ended styles of games ever still complains about rigid boundaries. Oh, for fuck's sakes, these games are some of the most malleable around, giving players wide freedom to do as they please. It's almost like you couldn't play with multiplayer off. Oh, wait, I played hundreds of hours of Elden Ring without talking to anyone, using a sexy female body with a pretty face made while watching a YouTube video. Why would you have to talk to anyone about the game? That was the worst thing I've ever read in my life. Look at this. Fight me physically, bitch. Help. I'm being harassed for some reason. Why always all the time me? If there was a way that she could be a normal, non-violent person. Exactly. If there's only a way that she could be normal. And then look at this. This is who she is. And I guess this is a thing from her LinkedIn talking about... Basically, this is a manifesto right here for her degree. My degree, while focusing on contemporary literature, has allowed me to direct my attention to research on queer theory, anti-normative modes of living, and social justice and human rights activism. God, imagine being with somebody this insufferable that thinks they're some kind of activist. This isn't what modern feminism is about. Like, real feminists would be rolling over their graves. Feminists from like the 70s and the 80s and stuff. These people don't care about feminism. They want everything else but what they really are about. They want to hold women down, judging from their opinions about Stellar Blade and even Tomb Raider and stuff like that. They're sick at the head. They have no idea what they're standing up for. They just want to go against the grain because they think that they're sticking it to the man, when obviously they're just making asses about themselves, which is why this Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree review is probably the most horrible review I've seen in quite some time. Definitely the worst review of the year. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll see you on the next one.